afternoon once again. A happy new year to you. It is the second day of the rest of our lives. My name is Bonny Tunya and this is KTN Newsdesk, where news is brought to you as it happens. We have, of course, a lot in store for you in this particular bulletin, including reactions to the president's appointments. So do stay tuned. Welcome to the program. At least 10 people have been injured in a suspected bomb attack in Tanduri Bar in Diani, Kwale County. Coast Region Police Commander Agri Adoli says the incident occurred at 4 a.m. and an unidentified assailant lobbed an explosive device into the club, injuring at least 4 people seriously, and while others escaped with minor injuries. 7 of the injured were taken to Msambweni District Hospital and are still receiving treatment, while 3 others have been discharged. Officers believe that the assailant used a homemade explosive and the attack may not necessarily be linked to Al-Shabaab or Al-Shabaab sympathizers. Bomb experts have been at the scene since dawn and suggest that the assailant was carrying out a vendetta. While the dance floor was flocked with tens of revelers, the attackers opted to lob device at a nearby pool table. Despite the Diani being a popular tourist attraction, no foreigner was injured. We stay in the coastal city and now in Voi, where police are investigating the death of a tuk-tuk operator which occurred in Voi town early this morning. The dead man had been reported missing for days. A shop owner in the town center found his dead body slumped over the steering wheel of the tuk-tuk. The tuk-tuk was parked outside his shop. Now, the incident attracted a huge crowd which gathered at the town center as police officers arrived at the scene. The tuk-tuk was taken to Voi police station while the body was moved to the Moi district mortuary for a post-mortem examination. Let's go to a bit of politics. In Machakos, Senator Johnston Muthama has criticized the government of having misplaced priorities and misusing taxpayer money. He was pointing out flaws in the laptop and standard gauge railway projects. Now, the fiery senator says the current government has failed to deliver on its pre-election promises.
As Kenya ushered in the new year, Kenya's top leadership in their messages vowed to continue with their agendas, keeping in mind the widely criticized laptop project and other development plans.
Our laptop programs for primary entry children will begin in earnest in the coming weeks. Thousands of jobs will come on stream as the construction of the standard gauge railway gets underway in earnest from Mombasa to Nairobi.
And Machakos Senator Johnston Muthama was quick to respond, terming the government as extravagant with misplaced priorities. Speaking during the New Year church service, the senator termed the laptop project as far-fetched, given that most schools lacked proper learning facilities.
Huyu mwalimu ni jirani wangu hapa. Na yuko kwa Matingi primary school, kwa Matingi primary school huko mashambani. Na shule nzima imenyanyuliwa, paa nzima imekwenda. Na majengo yameporomoka. And the children to be factored, to be provided with computers, those are part of the children ambao wanasomea uwanja tupu hauna paa hata moja. Unatumia bilioni 24 kupatia hao watoto kompyuta. Waifanyie nini kama wanakaa nje ya njua?
He claimed that the laptops had been over-budgeted, stating that rightfully one laptop is valued at 4,000 shillings, while they had been budgeted at 20,000 shillings each.
Kompyuta nazo nunua rais mwenyewe na timu yake. Mtambo mmoja ni shilingi 4,000 na wameweka shilingi 20,000. Maana yake inji inapotea bilioni 24 to the expense of poor Kenyans. Na anasema ndio wanasomeshwa na hiyo pesa. Mimi namwambia Mheshimiwa Rais, tafadhali, you have to understand the people you are leading. Na kama watu unaongoza wajui, huwezi kuwaongoza mkafika pahali.
The standard railway gauge line that has been termed as Kenya's single largest project was also the center of attention, given that it had caused friction among leaders within the Jubilee government.
Amekopa pesa nje tujenge reli kutoka Mombasa iishie pahali itaishia. Deputy President wake, naibu wa rais wake akamwandikia barua akamwambia, Mheshimiwa Rais, project ile ambao unaenda kufungua itafanya nchi hii ipoteze shilingi bilioni 4. Na Mheshimiwa Ketere, Alfred Ketere akazungumza hayo. Wanamuita mwenda wazimu. Ukichukua bilioni 24 na bilioni 400 inaopotea kwa kujenga huo mtambo ambao umewekwa magendo haijaonekana, it is 424 billion shillings, na budget ya Kenya is 1.2 trillion. That is 30% of the money that is going to be lost.
He also claimed that the government had been formed based on tribal lines.
Katika wizara 18, wizara 18, 12 zienda kwa makabila mbili katika Kenya. 6 ikaachiwa makabila 40 wanganganie kama mfuva ya fisi wakingangania. Wacha kuona hii, angalieni kule juu. Tunamwambia Rais, Kenya is ours. And what is in this country belongs to Kenyans. And we are part of that society of Kenyans. So come what may, come what may, no one and nobody can tunyaza our rights. Tutasimama na kukataa.
Ian Wafula, KTN.
Right, and let's go to some sad news now. And the family of a 37-year-old man who is alleged to have been murdered in America is calling upon the government to intervene and investigate the circumstances surrounding their kin's death. The family of Eric Chepkuto said they received the shocking news on 31st December 2013 in their home in Nakuru. Now, according to retired Kenyan ambassador to Sweden, Michael Sergon, who is a family member, the family received the news from other family members in the US last week that Eric had gone missing before confirming that his body was found. Eric is said to have lived in the state of Atlanta, Georgia since 1998 when he left Kenya for studies and had currently secured a temporary job before finalizing his plans to return to Kenya in April this year.
Punde si punde pia tukasikia ashapatikana amekufa. Pia tukasikia kufa kwake ni kuuawa. Hatuna taarifa nyingine isipokuwa tuna vijana pale ambao wameenda kuona mwili na kujaribu kufanya mpango ili awekwe mahali pazuri. Mshangao mkubwa tumeupata kufikia leo hii. Vile tunavyosikia ni kwamba wajasusi wanaendelea na kazi yao na yaonekana wamepata njia fulani ambao wanaifuatilia. Hawakuweza kutuambia, lakini kutupatia fununu ya kwamba wanafuatilia.
Now the next story, we call it luck or accident or a good accident, but Lady Luck last night smiled on the people of Uthiru after a lorry that was ferrying maize along the busy Waiyaki Way accidentally had its doors open, spilling all its content on the road. The driver was unaware as he continued driving, leaving a trail of maize behind as far as 200 meters. Area residents quickly rushed to the scene armed with sacks and brooms or anything they could that could help them collect the free maize. Children were also not left behind. There was a huge traffic snarl-up as people scattered along the busy road, down on their knees, sweeping the highway to get the precious commodity. Now, most of them managed to fill their sacks with free maize, saying it was New Year's blessings. No one was injured in the incident. Let's cross borders now into southern Sudan, and according to news agencies, rebel and government representatives have now arrived in the Ethiopian capital for peace talks. The negotiations are expected to get underway later today, even though more battles broke out in South Sudan late yesterday. Also, South Sudan's president has declared a state of emergency in 2 states. The 2 that were major towns are now under rebel attack.
The two areas under state of emergency are where much of the fighting has been concentrated. Unity State, also home to South Sudan's oil fields, or the vast majority of them, and Jonglei State, which is where the town of Bor is located. Bor has gone back and forth between government and rebel control. Now it is in the hands of the rebels. The talks are expected to begin within the next day or so to try to create the potential framework for some sort of a ceasefire to be implemented on the ground. We heard from the UN Special Representative to South Sudan, Hilda Johnson, who was warning, though, that the implementation of a ceasefire might not necessarily mean an end to the violence.
There has been killings and brutality, grave human rights violations and atrocities committed. We have seen evidence of apparent ethnic or targeting of South Sudanese citizens on ethnic grounds. This can lead to a perpetual cycle of violence that can destroy the fabric of the new nation.
Preventing that from happening really lies in the hands of the key players here. President Salva Kiir and rebel leader, his former Vice President Riek Machar. The population continues to remain on edge, with tens of thousands of people still seeking shelter at UN bases. And according to the UN, at least 180,000 people have been internally displaced by this conflict. Arwa Damon, CNN, Juba.
Right now, as top-performing students and parents around the country celebrated the announcement of the KCPE results this week, the reality of the selection to national schools has started hitting home. Private schools that put up a strong performance for the first time in years fear that some of the best students could miss out on opportunities to join the best national schools in Kenya if the controversial quota system is indeed implemented. One such school is the Temundo School in Kisumu that had two top students, Brian Ocheng and Valerie Onyando, who had both scored 411 marks.
I don't see any difference in whatever we are doing and what the other schools are doing, but when it comes to selecting them to schools, national schools, whatnot, we are told now these children are private, and children, are not private. It is the school that is private, but the children are not. The parents of this school, they pay tax like any other Kenyan.
Residents of Meru town have decried the sanitation management by a local supermarket for carelessly dumping rotten meat in its neighborhood. The residents say this is not the first time the supermarket chain in Meru town is disposing of unsold rotten meat in the back of its building, causing bad odor and environmental degradation in the county. Meru County's officer in charge of cleaning and beautification is now demanding that the public health department take stiff measures against the management of the supermarket.
We've really talked to the manager, but he's not ready to assist us. This is now the third time that we are talking to him, and he really failed us. He's not ready to listen or to sort things amicably.
Kama OCAS tulikuwa tunaomba eneo hili tuwe tunafanyia kazi, tukaambiwa sisi ni uchafu tunaondolewa town, alafu sasa eneo hili limekuwa la kutupa takataka na usumi. Nyama zimeoza zimetupwa hapa. Sisi tunashindwa sasa, nyama na sisi ni gani uchafu?
Now, television news production involves a lot that probably you, the viewers, are not aware of. The following compilation gives you a rare view and a look into the things that we journalists do when you're not watching. Remember, these are pictures you may never see again in your life, so enjoy.
They have been bringing to you comprehensive news coverage to the comfort of your living room. But little did they know that behind the cameras and the lenses that they looked into, they were captured unaware. That is why we are going to bring you a special feature of the whole KTN reporters and the Standard Group family. On behalf of the whole KTN camera crew, this is KTN News Files.
Kuna mwenyekiti wa Nakada, yule alikuwa mbunge wa Naivasha, John Mutudho aka Mutudho Laws. Hapo Jumatano saa 2 kasorobo.
Take two.
Aish.
Bro, hala.
Dunia ina mambo wallahi tena. Na vijimambo, mambo na vijimambo.
Mambo jamaa toka hapo nyuma yako. Mambo jamaa toka hapo nyuma yako.
And with the festive season coming soon, something...
The hell is wrong with that guy? Steward me.
He's a moral booster.
These are my fundamentals.
These are the things. These are my things. These are your things. These are the fundamentals.
Duru za komunika.
Aish. Nimehang.
Take two. Rolling? Una pan.
Hatutaki. We don't want.
Vile umenikopi. Sasa toka head boy na head girl. Ati so umesema huyu anafanya rika alafu mimi nifanye.
Huyu ni nani?
Mzea. Wazea. Watus. Wazea. Let's do it. Let's have fun, okay? It's time. Yeah. Okay. Have fun.
In 1994, no, take.
Ninarudia, my names are Martin Atira Lovin from Kalopie Ward.
Oh, hivyo tu.
Nimekueleza hivyo.
Look how serious I can do this now. Right, ready? Well, you know, when M-Pesa started, it was...
Still rolling.
Now, I'm at the corner of Sky Street in Moscow's capital, Russia's capital of Moscow. Sorry. Pole.
I'll cut it in two. One and the last one.
Wilson Buru,
Victor Ugali,
Sharon Momani,
Kulas Mudimba,
No, Otieno, Hussein Mohamed,
Philip Keitan, Patrick Amimo.
Mimi ni Mary Kilobi, Wilkeston Nyambo.
Jina langu ni Frank Otieno wa KTN leo Nairobi.
All right, don't forget your channel, your choice, KTN. Tunakuletea mambo.
Welcome back. Let's go to Sudan to the story I earlier alluded to. Children are among the most vulnerable victims. Many who managed to escape the conflict are now fighting a different enemy, disease. Another major problem is thousands of children are likely to have been separated from their families as a result of the latest violence in South Sudan. More than 121,000 people fled their homes when fighting started, with the results that many families were split up.
3-month-old Ron has diarrhea, a fever, and cough. His mother, Elizabeth, is just 15 years old, married at 13 after her mother passed away. He wasn't sick like this at home, she tells us. I'm worried he will not be all right.
My baby is very brave.
Her concern is justified. Most of the cases arriving at this mobile clinic, set up by Doctors Without Borders at a UN compound in Juba, are severe diarrhea.
Diarrhea can kill a child really fast if the dehydration is very severe and we cannot treat it straight away. Yes, it's quite dangerous. It's one of the first killers in the world. And it's the same for malaria also.
Tents and sheets provide some shelter from the sweltering sun for those too ill to move. Adults lie listless, waiting to see the doctors. The vast majority of them also have severe diarrhea. Conditions out here are abysmal, although better than when the refugees first streamed in. Clean water is in short supply, despite the tanker loads being brought in, hardly enough for drinking, bathing, and washing.
Down there are some of the latrines that have been set up by UNICEF, but despite aid agencies' best efforts, these are hardly sanitary conditions. And this is just one of the factors that is contributing to growing concerns about the spread of various diseases.
The population density at this UN camp is said to be equivalent to 10 times that of Mumbai, one of the world's most crowded cities. Such cramped conditions create the potential for even greater suffering.
If we get any one of those contagious or disease outbreak, that will be a big issue because we are not really ready to respond for the meantime. Like cholera, like measles.
Immunizations are underway for polio and measles. But of even greater concern are the children who didn't make it to UN bases, don't have access to treatment, and have reportedly fled into the bush without access to water, food, and medicine, potentially leading to more innocent lives lost to a war few can understand. Arwa Damon, CNN, Juba.
Great. On this second day of the year, remember the website still is standardmedia.co.ke. And just as we bring this to a landing, we have our Did You Know fact. This one is useful. Now, did you know there are twins born years apart? Right. So in Canada, the babies were born minutes apart, but they will celebrate different birthdays. That is December 31st, 2013 and January 1st, 2014. Take a look. Great. This is the end of Newsdesk today, the second day of January 2014. My name is Bonny Tunya. Good afternoon.